Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to another episode of Trudge Report. We are a recovery-based podcast. My name is Shawn and I am your host. I'm joined by my good friends and fellow Trudgers. Please remember to listen on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Videos will be posted each week so you can watch episodes on YouTube and Facebook. But as always, please be sure to download on your listening platforms. Remember to like and subscribe on all social media outlets with the handle @TrudgeReportPod. We are brought to you by Stella Mix Podcast Management and our wonderful producer and editor, Miss Janine Stella. Gentlemen, good evening. Happy recording day. We'll start in the great snowy Midwest as we always do. Mr. Cleveland AF, G.A. Phillips, how are you?
Good evening, gentlemen. Yes, it is still winter in Ohio, and yes, it is still business as usual around here. But I'm doing good. We're coming off of last evening. We went out to the old Texas Day Brazil.
Oh, and, yeah.
I'm still experiencing a little bit of meat sweats from that, but glad to report it's still delicious as usual.
We were there a few weeks ago, me and a bunch of the boys. It's fabulous.
Dude, it never.
You were invited,
fails.
though, Corey.
You should have gone.
He was.
Dude, it never fails to disappoint or to not disappoint.
Right.
Yeah.
It's fabulous.
Yeah. Let's see what else is going on, man. We got Peyton's state test scores actually in the mail tonight. We got them, and the old boy
mail runs on Sunday in Cleveland.
Yeah, dude, I guess, unless maybe we didn't get it yesterday. I don't know.
Okay.
So,
dude, I think the snow jacked it all up because my mail has been coming on random days. Dude, I've been getting mail all over the place.
Maybe they do deliver. I mean, I see mail trucks on the road on Sunday, so maybe. but yeah, so the boy's gifted and he knows it. He's not afraid to tell you about it. But yeah, I guess the average or the line for like advanced it was at like 750, and I think he got like a 771, 772.
Nice.
So kid's doing well, man. Hammering home that homework every day, so yeah, life is good, man.
Good stuff. Hell yeah. Danny P, what's up?
Same old, man. It was a nice -12 on Friday, so that was good. We're starting to warm up here, feeling great.
Boy.
UConn Huskies got a nice non-heart attack win the other night, so that was good to have a blowout win because it's been stressful watching them pretty much every single game. Today we had some basketball, we had some softball, and everything's pretty much all ducks in a row. Work, school, Maya's doing good, everyone's doing good, and yeah, nothing really crazy to report. Just snow, cold, and yeah, I'm ready for summer, boys. I need some Florida. That's
yeah. Well, it's, as you guys probably heard, it's pretty cold down here too. And I want to know, is there really a difference between 30 degrees and -12? Like at a certain point, do you really even notice it?
Yeah, big time. Absolutely.
Dude, when that wind cuts you to the bone, boy, you're 3 layers deep and it feels like you're naked out there.
Yeah, dude, so
Shawn, nobody's playing golf up there by you guys then, huh?
No. During the day when the sun comes out and it warms up to 13 degrees, it feels like I could wear a t-shirt and shorts and I'd be completely fine. It feels amazing.
Yeah.
When you're driving through downtown, you're like, man, where are all the crackheads at? It's cold. It's cold.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good. Hey, Corey.
Hey, dude.
How are you?
Well, I'm well.
That's good. How was your weekend? I saw you yesterday. I hung out with you yesterday.
Yeah, it was fun.
Lovely party. Yes, always. Your birthday parties at your house are always fun.
Yeah. We had Lucy's birthday party. The other 2 gentlemen on this podcast didn't care to make it. Fucking no excuses. Whatever. No, it was a good time.
I pulled up yesterday in the car and he's outside attempting to direct traffic. But so I'm like, I pull up, I roll my window and I'm like, where should I park? And he's like, I don't know. I don't know.
Dude,
and I'm like, what do you mean you don't know?
The bounce house guy parked in front of my empty driveway. I'm like, dude, I got to park people.
What am I doing? I'm like, so I'll just drive around then, I guess. And he's like, yeah.
Circle the block and then park up, right?
Are the neighbors weird about parking in front of their houses or what?
Yeah, it's a long, boring story. And he was very nice about it last year, but the neighbor that would bear the brunt of that was very against it. He's super nice about it. Apparently he's had a problem with it before, so whatever. Meaning like somebody got clipped when they were parked there, and it was a whole big thing. So, but it was a good time. It was a good time. I feel well this week. I feel well.
That morning routine's good, huh?
I'm not even shitting you guys right now, dude. I was just like Gabby and I had like started like a weekly check-in with each other, and we just had our first one. And I'm bringing this up because it's relative to recovery. But we're talking, and I was like, I've been hesitant to say it, and like it's so stupid because like, what do we tell people all the time about the spiritual life, right? Have to live it.
That's not a theory.
Yeah, and I was like, I feel like I'm breathing fresh air. And like, I hate even saying that, but I did want to share that on the pod.
Nah, preach it, dude. Hell yeah.
Well, because you know what I don't want to be? I don't want to be the boy whistling in the dark. And like, so when I say like I feel like I'm breathing fresh air again, tomorrow I don't want to be a shit show because I said it. You know what I mean? I'm a little not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious,
Just a little stitious.
But anyway, no, but yeah. So that's the point of me saying that is, my morning routine's been pretty good actually. Yeah. Good. I implemented my nightly inventory like we're supposed to do, and it's not always great, but feel better than I did a few weeks ago when I wasn't doing it.
You got a great haircut.
Yeah, right. It's how you can see the fresh air.
Dude.
And I start the job tomorrow, guys.
Nice.
I got to go in an office tomorrow for the first time in 2 years.
Even more important to do your morning routine before you leave the house.
Yeah, as soon as work goes in, it could be a absolute bombshell.
So wait, so is this like a hybrid job, or you just have to go in for the first little bit and then you'll be back to remote?
No, it's hybrid. It's hybrid for now. And okay, it's like this. He said, let's start with like 2 days in the office, 2 days a week, so you learn the office. Then we'll go down to like 1, and then like after that, after a few weeks, like maybe just like as needed. But my thing is, I might keep at least every other week a day in the office, even if they don't need me to be in the office, because like there's days I don't get freaking dressed, you know what I mean? And that can wear on you after a while.
Purpose in place, dude. That's everything.
You should do it once a week at minimum.
Once a week. 100%, dude. 100%.
Once every other week's too like.
Well, it's far. It is far. So, but once a week's totally doable, So.
Yeah.
Corey, you drive to the ends of the earth for crack.
I don't want to walk. I have walked to the ends of the earth.
Exactly.
I'd walk in this weather, dude.
Dude, I feel like working nonstop remotely from home. Like I just know, like it's just not good. It's not healthy, man.
Oh no, dude.
It's just not.
And I thought too, like people, when I tell people that I do, they're like, "Oh my god, that's so great! Like you have the life. Like you can go to your refrigerator." No, because you know what else? You see your wife all the time. Okay? And I don't even mean that as a joke.
Nobody wants to do that.
Well, it is easy to not miss each other. You know what I mean?
You need separation of church and state, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just life, It's like, would you working from home every day? It's like, what are you gonna have for lunch? I was like, I'm gonna eat my shotgun. That's what I'm gonna do. That's it. It's next level, man. My sister did it though. COVID, all that stuff, man. And she's like, all of a sudden things got real bad, and it doesn't like matter. Like it's just like you need that separation to have that purpose to go somewhere and do something. And as a human being, that's what I mean. That's really everything.
And also, like, I'm not fooling anybody. I also need the accountability every now and again of other people around me that know that, hey, you shouldn't just lay in your bed for an extra 30 minutes right now. You know what I mean? Like, you should go back to work. So, like, being in an office, like,
Well, to me, too, is like some of the best part of my day is when I'm pulling in the driveway, right? Coming home from a long day of work. Pulling in the driveway, I walk in, the house smells amazing because some good's cooking on the stove, and it's like, oh god, I'm so pumped to be home. I'm so excited to be home, and so I wouldn't want anything to interfere with that.
No, you lose that feeling, man. It's huge, dude. When I come home at the end of the day, I'm still relieved. Yeah,
home should be a sanctuary, something that like you said you look forward to coming home to.
And it's
Yeah, I heard that from you, Shawn. I use that all the time, man. Whenever anything's a little off or awry at home, is that home needs to be the place of solace, and no matter what you have to do to get there.
Yep.
It's like when you say, Shawn, like, you know, how's your spiritual life at the breakfast table? You know, well, I fucking work at my breakfast table too. It sucks.
Yeah.
Why
can't they put more Lucky Charms in the Lucky
Charms? I tell people to
Charms?
get fucked from my breakfast table all day long.
So anyway, I'm excited. I'm nervous.
Well,
I'm excited.
I hope it goes well. Yeah. So this episode will come out on Thursday later this week as it normally does, which would be the 5th, I think, the 5th of this month. Yeah. This Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday. So we're not going to do anything right now, but I do want to save 5 or 10 minutes on the back end of the show, at the very end of the show, to have a little Super Bowl prediction, quick discussion. We've been really good about not doing that kind of stuff on the pod lately, which is purposeful. So I want to save that. So let's, does anybody have anything else they want to get out and around the horn?
Yes, Shawn, you didn't tell us how you're doing. You didn't.
Oh,
we
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm doing fine. You guys saw little baby Shawn the third right before we started recording. He had to get one of those helmets for his flat head. He's going great so far. He's sleeping through the night. He's doing just fine with it. We got about 6 to 10 weeks of it on. It was emotional. Last Wednesday, getting it on him was emotional. Like, he doesn't know what's going on. He could care less. But it was a little emotional. But no, he's doing great. Business as usual. He's rolling around. Corey, you saw him yesterday, man. He was in a great mood all day, save for the last 20 minutes when he was just overly tired. But he was laughing and cutting up and smiling at everyone. So he's doing great. Grace started T-ball. Here's something funny. Grace started T-ball Wednesday. She loves it. No tears, no crying. She got right out there. And she's like playing catch with one of the little girls, as whatever catch looks like for 6-year-olds. I don't think either of them actually caught the ball, but they were getting some grounders and stuff. And 20 minutes in, she just turns to me. I'm in the crowd, like whatever. It's not really a crowd. There's like 8 parents there. And she just yells out loud. She goes, "Daddy, I'm better than she is," to the girl she's playing catch with.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, Grace.
Let's go.
You're both really good. You're both equally as good. And then like a little later on, she tells the coach, she's like, I can hear her say, like, she's just looking up at the coach. She's like, "Coach, I'm really fast. I can run really fast. Like I'm fast." And the coach was like, "All right, well, let me see it." She's like, I'm fast. Don't worry." Like, it was so funny. So that's cool, because if anybody knows my sweet little, my Gracie, she likes to cry on everything she does for the first 10 or so minutes, and then she warms up. But I was so proud of her. She didn't cry. She got right out there. She had all kinds of dirt on her and sand and everything, and she was in it. So that was cool. But I'm doing fine, man. I'm good. My morning routine's good too. It's played some golf today in super cold weather. Had a blast. Adventurous. It was adventurous golf, and I'm good, man. I got no complaints. All is well here in the McDonald household. We're getting some home renovation, not really renovation, just like we're getting like a screened in porch and doing stuff like that, like doing some little kind of stuff to the house to up its value and all that good stuff. So
let me see the workmanship.
Yeah, really.
Let's check this out here. Come on, man.
Paulson handyman do it.
Yeah. Hey, trust me. If you want to make the trip, Danny, I will gladly pay you over anybody else. But
no.
So yeah, it's all good. All good on my end. Thank you for asking, Corey.
Hey, let's just mention real quick. So number one, Shawn and I spent like the most time with each other that we have in years, because we drove down to Delray together.
Oh yeah.
And it was and for starters.
Oh yeah, shout out to Janine.
That's what I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
For starters, did fix pretty much everybody in the time that we got down there. We solved everyone's issues if they would just listen to us.
Right. Right. We haven't presented these solutions to everyone yet, but we have figured out everyone's problem and exactly what they need to do to get well. Yes.
Do you guys have business cards? Do you hand out business cards? The solution.
Look, Shawn ran away. Oh my God.
I don't know why it does that. Carry on.
We'll get business cards. But it just amounts to all of you people need to step up. That's all. And by all of you people, I mean literally everybody. But yeah, shout out to Janine, because that was a great opening. That was great food.
Food was great. What was that? We had barbecued monk fruit? No. Jackfruit. Barbecued jackfruit.
Yeah, it was tropical smokehouse barbecue, and they have they have the best food, bro.
It was unbelievable.
So good.
Oh, it's so good.
It was unbelievable.
The brisket.
It was like barbecued cauliflower, but like way better. I don't know if that makes any sense, but way better.
Greg, do you know about jackfruit?
I do know about jackfruit. It is delicious.
I never even heard of it. I had no idea what I was eating.
When you get the rest of the guys down here, thank God it's right across the street. We could literally walk there.
Yeah, we're working on it too. We've already brought it up to him. We're working on it.
Daniel will not partake in the jackfruit.
Janine's studio, her new studio is amazing. Greg, you remember the old studio? This is like blows it out of the water. It's awesome.
Beautiful.
So met some cool people, got our name out there a little bit, our podcast out there, got a few extra followers. We met Angela and Tom, who are Janine's editors behind the scenes. They were really cool. It was fun. It was a cool thing. Yeah. And Corey and I had a nice time.
Pumped to check it out at some point.
Yeah, I can't wait. It looked awesome on the book. On the book, I saw it. It looked phenomenal.
Yep. Yeah. So, all right, boys, let's jump right into it. Let's continue. A little bit of an extension of last week, although we're going to get a little more intricate and a little deeper into this. And so I pose the first question to Greg, which is kind of a repeat question of last week, but I want to just to kind of kick us back where we were last week, kind of keep us going. Greg, is there a difference between defects of character and shortcomings or character flaws? Are they all the same? How would you describe it? What is your take on that?
Well, I think you could like break it down as far as what those things mean, just on a base sense, or psychologically or whatever. But I think for the program of recovery, I think we can use all those things interchangeably, to be honest with you.
Right.
I think it was just more of a way, is in the literature anyway, to not sound redundant.
Right. I would agree.
By the authors. So I think they're just interchangeable. I don't like to look too much into it further than that, and get all hung up on, what the difference between this and that is. It's recognizing the negative aspects of my character and getting them down on paper, usually with somebody else. The trusted friend that I shared my inventory with, my mentor, whoever it was, and getting that stuff down on paper so that I can really take a look at what those things are, honestly.
So that being said, because I kind of led you into that. We did talk about, first off, did anybody see the quote that I put on the description?
No.
Did you guys even read those?
No, I always do. What was that? The gangster one,
the unknown one, or what?
No. Well, was it unknown? Yeah, I think it was. But it said, a shortcoming is having a flat tire.
Yes.
A defect is driving on that flat tire. I don't know. I just thought I thought that was clever. Yeah. I thought that was kind of because I agree, Greg. They are very much interchangeable. I believe a lot of our authors of our recovery literature just did not want to use the same word too close in proximity. But I think that's a really tangible way to look at it when you can make an analogy like that, right? A shortcoming is, I think that's what it was. A shortcoming is having a flat tire, and the defect of character is saying, screw it, I'm just going to drive on it anyways, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what
and
I mean?
when you see those people doing it and flying sparks everywhere, what do you do when you're looking at them? You're like, what the?
Yeah. So I thought that was good. But so that leads me to the next one. The real question, Greg, is we've ascertained in this whole process, this inventory process, writing it down, especially talking about it to a mentor or a trusted advisor or friend, this word humility, right? This word humility it's $1 million word. It gets used, I think, sometimes inappropriately, but in terms of humility in recovery and keeping the ego at an appropriate level, how would you define humility in your own words, and how important is it to the context of having these shortcomings and defects of character removed?
Well, the first thing I would say is pivotal, right? It's absolutely pivotal for this, and it relies completely on it, because we've already talked about, I can't remove these defects myself. I can't work on my own character defects. If I could, then I would have been a much less flawed human being a long time ago. So, and this whole deal is rooted in the humility, understanding that I can't do any of this on my own, that all of my best thinking, all of my egotistical practices, all of, my own, cheerleading on of myself and my behavior has all gotten me to a point of sheer and utter hopelessness. So, it is to me, I don't want to say removal of ego. I don't think that ever truly happens, at least not on our own. But it is recognizing that and reducing that as much as possible, realizing that I am just a very small and sometimes insignificant part and cog in this whole working thing, and that if I'm going to get better and if I'm going to become a better human being, I have to humble myself before my higher power, and ask for that help, and I think that's the biggest thing is we're not like forcefully willing away our flaws. This is all about like us earnestly asking for guidance and strength. And so that to me is what elevates, what we've done up until this point, which I think has largely been introspective, into the action of asking for that and building on like willingness, transitioning into the actual process of improving ourselves, through the humble asking, to do with these what you will, but remove from me these greater flaws of my being, my character.
Dan, what does humility mean to you? How does it play a role in your life, or specifically, how big of a role did it play in your early sobriety and in those what we would call the formative years of sobriety?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all stems together with what you have to do, which is removing yourself and putting someone else in power, put your higher power at the the utmost. Because if you're not humble and you don't have humility, then you're the one that's in charge, and you're using your ego and yourself and all these things. So you're asking someone to your higher power to remove these things from you. But if you're still not humble and not having the humility and having to put yourself first, and then it's not going to happen. Like all that intertwines together, just like every part of the process, along the way. And that, like, my mentor, I remember, one of my great character defects, was my ego and being, like loud and stuff like that. But I was told and I was taught, and it was a pretty cool thing to me, rather than like, like, yes, you have to ask to get things removed, but you can also things that will not be perfectly removed every single time. You can hone these things and turn them into useful tools to help other people. And that was like a total game changer to me. Because like early on and stuff like that, I tell them these things, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do, and it seems like a lot, and it's very defeating. But it was kind of like, oh, all right, you know what I mean, and use these things to help people, and like, but also like humility is something that we have to do every single day, because I mean, I'll catch myself like doing this and doing this. And, there's such a very great difference, between confidence and ego and like all these little things and these character defects or shortcomings that we have in our life. And just the verbiage of itself of shortcomings and defect to me is like defect is a harder word than a shortcoming. You know what I mean? And these things, and that's like how I need to separate that, whether they are the same thing in our literature and stuff like that. But I separate it because it helps me, be more tangible on what I have to work on, to write it down and to do it that way. That's the way that, with my mentor, I was able to kind of like separate and dissect it, because I'm very like literal when it comes to writing stuff down. But yeah, I mean, humility is an everyday thing, like, because it's like you get all these things removed, like we talked about, but you still have to, keep working on it. And it's just like defects and shortcomings. It's something that you're always working on. But I feel like if you don't have any humility at all, then you really don't have any recovery at all. I just feel like it's necessary.
Right. I would say that not only is the lack of humility a barrier to actual physical sobriety, but how many people, and I guess we've all probably been guilty of it. Maybe Corey hasn't, he's close to perfect, but we've all mostly been guilty of being like having the lack of humility in sobriety keep us from being truly happy and peaceful, right? Corey, humility as opposed to humiliation. We hear that a lot in recovery. We hear like, what's the difference? What is the difference between that to you? Having humility or being humiliated, or that juxtapose those two things together.
I mean, they're not, at least to me, they're not at all alike, right? Like with humiliation, I feel shame and guilt,
but I mean that so many people think that those two, they believe that those things are intertwined. Like humility is being a doormat and laying down and letting people. Like, that's not what we're like. My point is, I agree, that's not what it is. So I want you to kind of maybe help explain that for people if you can.
There's a line in our literature that says that, as I think I'm paraphrasing, but it says as God's people, we crawl before no one, or something like that.
Yeah.
To some degree,
we stand on our feet. We do not crawl before anyone. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say, like, pertaining to humility, and I've had to get a dose of, of like a lesson with this in recent times, and for me, it's just like there's grace in not having the answer all the time, and like remembering that, like, I'm possibly wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I possibly have the wrong idea of what the situation is in front of me, or anything. You know what I mean? Like, I don't always have the answers, and I can get so fixed on something and what I think it is, and things that could help me, and we talk about in recovery about throwing out old ideas. And I think I forget that, like, after I think humility almost gets tougher the longer you stay sober, because it's like,
absolutely,
because through sobriety you gain all these great ideas, and then you start thinking that all of your ideas are great, or not your ideas, but like whatever ideas you're having, and they're not all the time, and so I've had to, like, really start checking that stuff, and I've entered into things, that I'm not talking about on the pod right now, but like, that I was pretty against for a long time, that may only be beneficial to me, but I was just like, no, I can't do that. Like, it literally was not humble enough, right? But yeah, like, as opposed to humiliation, like, I don't think there's any, like, true, like, we don't crawl before anyone. Just because we're practicing humility doesn't mean that we're weak. In fact, it's the way of strength.
Right.
Probably,
I would agree.
right?
I would think it's the opposite. Yep.
So yeah, that's what I would say.
I think so. we all know people, and God knows we've probably all been these people at times where you're having a conversation and they have the answer, or they have a better experience than you, and they have to share about it, right? Like they know everything, and not only do they know everything, but they have to tell you just how much they know, whether they're pointing you out as being wrong or just trying to one up you in a story, and whatever the case may be. And I think, like Corey, to your point, like, true humility is, it's not so much being okay with not having the answer, although I think that is part of it, and not trying to bullshit your way to the right answer, but having the answer, but not feeling the need to always share it.
Yeah,
and what I mean by that, I don't mean that when somebody is in need, we don't lend our experience and try to help them. We absolutely do. But, like, for instance, in our recovery groups, I mean, there's people that say stuff that is just flat out wrong, right? They misquote our literature, they misinterpret the literature, they misinterpret parts of the literature that isn't actually up for interpretation, right? And like, is it my job to raise my hand and have we would call it the rebuttal share and correct them? Like, no. True humility is just sitting back, and you know what? If I truly think that somebody was really affected by something that somebody said, I can talk to that person one-on-one after, right? It doesn't have to be in a group in front of other people, because really what I'm now doing is making them wrong, making myself right. There's a self-righteousness there, and there can be no humility in self-righteousness.
Yeah, well,
right?
That's humiliation right there.
Right. Right. Exactly. So I think that the most profound result of learning more about humility in this part of the process really was the change in our attitude towards our higher powers, right? We've really, for lack of a better word, preached lately how I can't solve my own defects of character. I can't, a solitary self appraisal is insufficient. I have to have the perspective of another trusted source. I have to get it out of my head in fantasy land, write it down on paper. And really, what all that is doing is paving the pathway towards my relationship, right, with God, right?
Yeah.
So, Dan, holding on to some of these things, how do I know if I'm holding on to one of these shortcomings, or I don't even know how to word that, but like, is there stuff that we hold on to that we're not ready to let go, and why might be some of those reasons that we're not willing to let those go?
I think fear of letting them go. To me, it's like fear of letting them go because you think, like we talked about last week, like that's part of who you are. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, that's just the way I am. Like a lot of those shortcomings and defects of character, we've been those for so long, or I've been those for so long, and it's just kind of like part. It's like, oh no, that's just the way I am. That to me is like the things that you don't want to let go. But that's why we have mentors, and that's why we have other people.
Yeah.
That's like that's the people, like, to me, like, to be honest, are you being really honest? It doesn't work if you're not really being honest, like, and that's why you can't remove all those things if you're not being honest in every facet of it. And,
Right.
like if you're going to hold on to it and like, for me now, you know what I mean? Where we are and stuff like that, like you feel it,
Right.
over time, you
Yeah.
feel it eventually. Like Corey was saying, he's breathing fresh air. Like I can say that we probably all have had those moments where it gets and it goes down, 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 and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, you know what I mean, getting back on track and doing all this stuff, and I mean, you feel it now. I mean, for
Mhm.
me, anyways, that's how it is. You
Yeah.
just feel it inside.
Yeah. I agree. Greg, do you know or have certain defects that you're still holding on to that you're just not willing to let go? Or is it more of a, hey, I'm willing, I want these to go, I'm willing to let God take them, but they recur and they crop up?
I don't think it's active on my part of like I need to hold on to this
Right.
or else I'm not going to feel safe, or I'm going to end up being a fucking square the rest of my life, or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. I think more so it's especially this recovery process that we all go through and that we all do is not meant to be like a one and done type deal. It's a constantly evolving
Very
thing.
good point.
So
It's circular.
right. So the things that first inventory I did and the first list I did were my grosser defects of character, my grosser handicaps, my worst shortcomings were all on there. And yes, I wanted those removed. But again, like kind of like we talked about last week, is like I'm the clay and he's the sculptor, right? So it is I'm bringing this stuff to the table. These are the things that I see that are wrong, and I'm leaving this at your hands, and I'm going to continue to pray. I'm going to continue to meditate. I'm going to continue to go through this recovery work with a mentor and do the things that are outlined in this path of recovery, and the rest is not on me to remove things from myself. But I also think too that there have been things that have cropped up through multiple inventories, not even necessarily always needing to do a full-on inventory like Corey was talking about earlier, just a nightly inventory, a nightly just thought process of where have I gone wrong today? What have I done? Have I hurt anybody today? Have I been selfish, self-seeking, those kind of things? And yeah, things do pop up, and certainly things where I may have thought that those were character assets in a certain way, shape, or form, and then I come to the realization over time, well, man, I could take that character asset and I could just turn it a little bit this way, inject a little bit of ego in it, and wouldn't you know it, now it is a fundamental flaw in my own being, right? So it's like I think that, yeah, over time and over doing more and more of this, more of those things get removed. But again, it's not really on my clock. And if I am, to use another artistic analogy here, but like if I am to be the painter,
Yeah.
guide my hand. guide my brush, so that, God is working through me and not the other way around. Right. So.
Yep. So Corey, when asking for the removal of these shortcomings or being willing to have them removed, are we demanding from God that he take them away right now? I think sometimes we toe that line. Like, am I making demands of God, or are they requests? Are they prayerful requests? And like, it goes back to the conversation. Maybe God's not ready to remove some of them. Maybe he wants to use some for character assets and help them. How does that, like, are we demanding that God move these things?
Shawn, you can't demand shit from God. He's God.
Well, I might know that, but maybe some of our listeners
Corey, you definitely have 100%.
But we do it like we used to, or let me say this. We used to do it all the time. We used to have the foxhole prayers, which is nothing really more than a demand dressed up in kind of a weak, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh God, get me out of this one. Like, we make deals with God, right? So I guess that's a better way to put it. Are we making deals with God in this part of the process, Corey, or how does that go?
You know what? That's an interesting question, because like sometimes I do get into a mentality of like my relationship with God is transactional, and it's not. You know what I mean? Like, it's really not. God, I don't think God like begins to love me when I start doing his work. I think he's always loved me. I think by doing his work, I allow myself to feel his love. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I can sometimes slip into that mentality of like, well, because I haven't been on the beam and doing the deal, like, not he's punishing me, but he's not looking upon me favorably anymore.
He's disappointed in me.
Right. And like, I think that's a kind of a dangerous mentality for us, because we can stay in that.
Well, it goes to the punishing, vengeful God, which, like, newsflash for any of us in recovery and anyone in the world, we are able to choose differently. We don't have to choose the mean, vengeful, spiteful God that maybe we grew up with.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And like, so anyway, like, to your question about whatever, about like, I still in my prayers include kind of, I mean, I do name things out specifically, like as far as defects go, that I know that I'm struggling with, but ultimately I do include like, if that is your will, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how exactly I phrase it right now, but essentially that's what I say. Like, if it's not suiting your will for me, take it from me.
Yep.
And that kind of leaves the ball in his court, as long as I'm actually willing to give up whatever he needs me to give up, and it's not always, I mean, I've been relying a lot on just self-pity, because it allows me to blame other people, and like, it allows me to just kind of sit here and think like, oh, I just have a bad hand of cards today, and it's never the case. It's never the case. So,
Greg, once we ask these defects to be removed, do they disappear instantaneously? Because I think that's a common misconception by a lot of people.
Instantaneously, like right then and there in that moment. For me, no, I did not have some huge epiphany right then and there in that moment, but I found that over time, and in fairly quick time, I think the grosser ones, yes. The worst ones, I know, I remember in that first one, like, I don't want to lie and steal anymore. And I think, definitely like the stealing thing was removed pretty quickly. I did not steal from the Rio market, thankfully. Maybe the Golden Gate market a time or two, but
dude, all the rehab kids used to steal every time we went taking for shopping, man. Everyone's cuffing 5-hour energies.
Right.
So ridiculous.
But yeah, that was removed pretty quickly. Have I always been honest from that moment? No. know. But we kind of discussed it too, is I am much more aware of that very thin moment that we all have right before we're about to do something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And now I am ultra aware of it. And it's like that conscious moment, the God moment, whatever you want to call it, is, it's right there. And it's like,
Yep.
in my brain, it's like, don't do that. That's stupid. Why would you do that? Tell the truth. I didn't want to keep treating women like emotional rag dolls, and I think that was a bit of a learning curve, but I like to think that, I know for a fact that I'm much better now, and I'm much more of an emotionally available person. I was not in early sobriety, and I had to learn through that, and that was a big like learning curve for me. It wasn't just like, hey, I'm not running out and cheating on a girl, or I'm not running out and, doing horrible things to her or whatever. But it's like, that was a curve of learning of like what it meant to really, truly find love with somebody, and true respect for your partner. And I feel like I'm on a much, much better basis with that now.
Right.
There's still, I mean, Corey was talking about it earlier, and but I think for all of us, we have to learn. We have to learn how to live with our significant others, and I think that that's all about like a journey. Same way we're on a spiritual journey. As we do that together, and we learn how to live with each other and be the best partners we can be.
You brought up a great point, and I'm going to let the other guys go on this too. But the being emotionally closed off, I dated a girl long before I met my wife. That years after we dated, and we only dated like I think 6 months maybe, but years after we dated, I was with Catherine, and I had to ask Catherine's permission and make sure she was cool with it. But I felt I needed to make amends to this girl, and I still saw her in social circles and stuff because I never treated her badly physically. We didn't really yell. We didn't get into arguments, but I had come out of another relationship prior to that where I did get hurt pretty badly. And I was emotionally closed off. There were times where like I wanted to say certain things and be vulnerable, and there was literally a freaking wall, a defense wall there. I just could not get past it. I couldn't cry. There were so many weird emotional things that luckily Catherine brought out of me, and I was able to like work through those with her, more importantly with God and through inventory and my mentor and all that. But there's nothing like the sensitivity of a great woman to help bring that sensitive side out in me. But to your point, Greg, that was a big thing for me too. And I still struggle with that. Corey and I have talked about this. I struggle with that. Like there are things I want to say, there are things I want to do. And there's just sometimes a block in me, and it's something that I'm constantly praying on. So Dan, I want to give you a chance to talk on that or talk on the whole idea, or both. Do they go away right away? What went away right away for you in terms of defects? What still lingers? Right? Take that wherever you want it.
Yeah. So for me, the first time doing this, everything did not go away right away, but it created a want and a desire that I was free and I wanted to do better. That was the biggest thing for me. Is like nothing just went away. Like you were talking about like demand, demanding God to remove all this stuff. But like going through the process and doing the process real and honest, it really just gave me a want and a desire. It made me aware of these things and what I need to do to be better. And it's the same thing as not the perfect trail that you're going to travel and stuff, but like Greg talked about, man, that instant moment, there's so many experiences of somebody trying to get me to get a PPP loan because everyone's getting money and scamming the system and doing all this stuff, and I can go and do this and I can get $46,000, no problem. You know what I mean? And no one's going to even ask a question, but I can't do it because I don't really, there's no, you know what I mean? Or, or someone walking out of Lowe's with the mirror that's $70 on the bottom of my cart, and I get out to the truck and I'm like, fuck, man, I got to walk back in and do it. It's like, why can't I just be a scumbag right now and just leave? But I mean, it's all that stuff. Like that's the want and desire to be better. You write it down, it makes it real. You make God your higher power, and then you want to feel this inside, and you want to change. So you have to put the feet on the ground, and you have to start doing this and putting these things to change. And that was the biggest for me. I don't think anything gets removed right away. It's what are you going to do? Because everything takes action. Like it's just a step process to take action to be a better person, be a better human being. But yeah, I mean, nowadays you just feel it, man. You feel every part of it that it's ingrained in you to, not want to lie. But on the emotionally closed off thing, like for me, I would say like I'm not emotionally closed off because I have a wall up. I'm emotionally closed off because I think I know what is better for people and they don't need to hear this from me because I'm trying to protect them. That's like one of my defects. I feel like, oh, I'm not gonna say this because this might hurt someone's feelings, or you know what I mean. When it comes to like relationally or like something like that, it's like I feel like I know better, and that's my emotional closed offness. Where eventually it comes like, you need to F and tell me, and you need to, you know what I mean. Where it's like that's a defect of mine, where I think I'm protecting people, and that's ego. That's a defect, and those shortcomings and all those things coming back into it.
Yeah, good stuff. Corey, what about you? Your defects went away like right away, didn't they? All of them?
If I had one.
If I had one, there you go. I remember the day I still met you. Do you remember that?
I was a walking defect, wasn't I?
God, you were a punk, dude.
Yeah, actually, the defect that got removed was the chin straps.
Yeah, we defected together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Somalians.
That's for another segment.
Yeah. We've talked about it before. Like, obviously the biggest defect was my drinking and drugging. That got removed, and the obsession got removed through the process of everything we're talking about here, and it hasn't returned. Even when I act like a jackass for a while. So I know that I've lived on God's grace a few times, but the one other thing that has 99.9% of my sobriety been removed is, I don't even want to go into detail, but I'll give you guys a big synopsis of it. But like, I haven't been like a raging lunatic in my household for the most part. You know what I mean? Like I used to be kind of a angry, and we joke that I'm like grumpy. I mean angry. I mean like lash out angry, like try to fight somebody. And I've never been tough. So like it luckily not too many people took me up on it. But that kind of person. I'm not that person. I've never like physically fought anybody in sobriety. Don't plan on it. Don't want to do it. Perfectly content with the idea that I could get my ass whooped today. That was not a thing in my head in the past. Like I could beat anybody. Not that guy today. I'm just so not. And I'm especially not that guy in my household. Something I'm grateful. I mean, Gabby and I haven't done a whole lot completely right, but like we've done a few things really good. Like we don't call names and shit. You know what I mean? And I was a name caller at one point. That's a defect that I haven't had the burden of for a long, long time, and I'm super grateful about it. We've had our issues. You guys are well aware.
Right.
But man, do I not want to be that fucking guy, So I'm not.
Dude, I've seen like some couples or whatnot, you know what I mean, and like people like crazy fight, you know what I mean, like the names and stuff, and I was like, oh, because like even like we all get in spats with our significant other, that's just part of life, But like I go and I see things like that are just like next level, man. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Like, did I used to be? Was I like that? That was.
You know what's messed up too is I can sometimes fool myself, and this comes with not being humble, right? I can sometimes fool myself into thinking that like, well, no, we're actually doing really good because we don't scream at each other and call each other names as if that's like the standard, and as long as we meet that, we're fine. When it's like, no, Corey, like that was dysfunctional. Like, just because you're not like dysfunctional doesn't mean that like you're like a great partner or something. Like, you got to pay attention to some of the other stuff that matters too.
Yeah.
Well, even
So
if you're not like screaming and calling names too, especially like having children in the house, like the kids can sense that tension, man.
Right.
They know the deal, you know, and like so that's in my book. I mean, I won't say just as bad, you know, but it's still it's rough on the kids, man. You know?
And dude, you could just tell when words are visceral hate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's so different, man.
Well,
It's just
and
like,
that's exactly the thing. And maybe like, because I'm not gonna throw out other people's business too much, but like I kind of grew up with that in my teenage years of just complete and utter disrespect towards like my parents or my stepfather and my mother, and like so exactly what I'm saying. Like, as long as it's not that, we're doing great. You know what I mean? Which isn't totally true, but I am grateful because like we've, even in the worst of moments, we've maintained at least that shred of decency where we're not doing that shit at all, actually. And for the most part, we keep our arguments away from the kids anyway. So for the most part, I've acted out a couple of times but nothing, like I said, like that's why I can say like that defect, for the most part, God's done his work with. So
it's a pretty decent benchmark for, I mean, I say for like anything, because it's even like work or whatever, man, is like, you know, you can kind of tell where people are at when things are at the worst and how they act. You know, it really is a benchmark. You know, like I know, like you understand, it's not like that's not a standard of like, yeah, we're doing great. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like literally, that's like at work, man, all the time is like, you know, people are real cool and awesome. You know, but when that pipe breaks and stuff like that, how do they act? Because I'm always going to show up and I'm going to make it right every single time. That should never be a question. You know what I mean? But it's like how people change real fast, and like you can always tell. And then I'm like, all right, I won't work for this person anymore. Like it really is kind of like a benchmark. But like you said, it's totally true. It's like not like, all right, we're doing awesome just because we're not doing that. You know, like still got to do the dishes every now and
then. Yeah.
So good stuff all around. And I want to close this recovery portion because we are going to, as promised, talk a little bit about Super Bowl. I want to close this with a prayer. All three of you know it very well. I don't, you know me, I don't like to get like, oh, this is my favorite part of our literature and this and that. But this is a really good prayer. It's a prayer that I still say almost every night. I say a prayer every night, or I pray every night, but I say this almost every night, and sometimes in the morning, and it goes like this. And it'll be here. It'll pop up on screen for all who are going to watch this here in a moment. But my Creator, I am now willing that you shall have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen. And you know, like I said, for those of you who are watching this, you'll be able to read it on screen. We'll leave it up there for a little bit. What I love about this prayer is not unlike some of our other prayers that we have in our literature, but it is an unselfish prayer, right? It's take all of me, God, the good and the bad. How many times, even in sobriety, but especially in my addiction and active alcoholism, did I ask God to help me out of a bad situation or to remove the negative? Like, how selfish of me to only want to give God the bad parts of me, right? I want to give him the good parts of me as well, because he can make those better. I pray that you now remove from me every single defective character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Going back to what you talked about, Greg, some of these defects God might not be ready to remove because he might be using them purposefully in me still at the moment. So I'm asking, not just, again, going back to, I'm not demanding that God take everything away, make me white as snow. I'm asking God to remove from me the stuff that is in the way of my usefulness to him and to other people. And then, you know, I don't know. I just love that prayer. I love that prayer. It's an unselfish prayer. So it's a powerful one. All right, let's do it. We got about 7 minutes or so here before we got to wrap up. Seattle Seahawks versus the New England Patriots. What do we think? Quick 2 minutes each. Greg, we'll start with you. 2 minutes each. Give me a quick synopsis on the playoffs, Super Bowl prediction, and maybe a key point or two.
All I'm going to say is, 4 other teams passed up on Sam Darnold. He wasn't good enough for him. They didn't want him. Hats off to Sam Darnold. That boy is cooking. It doesn't hurt that they have 2 phenomenal wide receivers and just a great all around team. But hats off to him. I think that if they play anything like the previous 2 games they played in the playoffs, that New England doesn't stand a chance. I won't say that they won't keep it competitive. We've seen Drake May show up this season. The kid's, to me, a standout for MVP. And everything that Vrabel has done for that team, and has really turned things around. But I think if you look at it also based on strength of schedule, based on how everything shook out, I think that they had potentially one of the easier paths to the Super Bowl.
They didn't play that strong of a schedule this year. I agree.
No. And they played a whole bunch of teams that fired their head coaches at the end of the year. So, there's that as well. I forget the actual number, but yeah, I think the Seahawks, if they can show up on defense, the offense is going to go out there, is going to do its job. They're going to cook. And I think that, the Seahawks will win this by more than 8 points.
Okay.
I also predict that the halftime show is going to be absolutely terrible.
Okay.
Awful.
We're on the very, very end. We're going to go around for predict a score. So for now, just you can say 8 points, fine, double digits, but we'll do a score at the end. Corey, 2 minutes.
The Eagles are probably going to win.
Can't mention
the other 2 teams are going to lose.
You are terrible.
Shut his mic off.
You're gonna have to come shut it off in person.
I love that.
I don't need 2 minutes. I don't know anything about football, but I do feel like the Patriots are gonna win, and I'm excited to see it. To be honest, I don't know why, but I know everybody hates the whole like all the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl every year. Before that, the Patriots. I like it for some reason. It's just it feels like greatness is unfolding before us, right? And obviously it's not Brady, but I don't know.
I do like Vrabel. I like Mike Vrabel as a coach.
I like Drake May.
Yeah,
he's a UNC boy.
Anyway, that's where my heart's at. My heart is the Patriots are going to win, and I'm fine with that. So,
okay, Danny P.
Yeah, I love Vrabel. Usually, I'm a Giants fan, so I always hated the Patriots growing up and stuff. Never liked them and stuff like that. But I love coaches and players, man. Same thing I do in the NBA and stuff like that. It really is the coaches and the players make everything. You know what I mean? And Belichick was just unlikable. You know what I mean? He's just so unlikable. He just couldn't like him.
The 24-year-old girl likes him. So.
Yeah, just not the Hall of Fame.
That's wild. That's wild.
That's so wild.
Crazy.
It's so ridiculous. They should boycott the whole thing.
It's ridiculous.
It's stupid.
It really is.
Yeah. They got a whole bunch of character defects up in that joint now. That's wild. Oh man. But I'm really I'm on the fence. I keep going back and forth with it because Vrabel and I think New England's defense is highly underrated. I really think it's highly underrated. And Andy Dalton is still Andy Dalton, man. I don't know why. I just can't, I don't know if all of a sudden this year, maybe he got sober this year and all of a sudden that's why he's throwing for 7,000 yards, but I don't know. He's just still Andy Dalton. I feel like the mistakes.
You mean
coming,
Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold.
Oh, Sam. Yeah.
You're messing up your gingers here, dude. That's messed up. The discrimination, disrespect.
That's the second time I did that. Did I do that in our group chat? Was that our group chat, Craig?
I don't know.
Oh, man, yeah.
I'm pissed.
Yeah, but see, that's my point. He said, I don't even know his name, so he's going to mess it up.
They all look the same.
Yeah, they all look the same. There we go. Wow. I'm going to get canceled on that one. But, no, I really think New England, I just think their defense is highly underrated. Their cornerbacks are really freaking good, man. And I know Najigba, he's nasty, but I don't know. I just don't, I don't know. I really think that, I really think it's going to be either a close game or the Seahawks are going to win by 30. I mean, I think that's the only way it's going to go. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. If it's a high scoring game, New England's getting blown out.
I think that Sam Darnold has acquitted himself really, really well. He didn't have to do much in the divisional round, but he protected the ball. We saw flashes of it in Minnesota last year, and then he choked in the playoffs. I think I'm going Seahawks. I think Seahawks are going to win too. I think they're just fierce. That defense is unbelievable. They got great momentum. I think their fans are going to travel. I have a feeling though, like I wouldn't be shocked if Darnold like completely lays an egg. I don't know, man. That's a big stage. It's tough. Vrabel's a great coach. The Patriots are very good on both sides of the ball, and I think they're a little underrated on the defensive side of the ball. They're not as good of a defense as Seattle, but I think their offense is comparable, and I just think they've won a couple dogfights so far in the playoffs. I'm still going to go Seattle, and I'm going to go 31-24 Seattle. Greg?
Seattle's defense picks one off, takes it to the house, 38-27 Seattle.
Corey?
24-21 Patriots.
Okay. Danny P?
17-14 Patriots.
Nice.
Oh, that'd be terrible.
I don't mind the defensive battle. I don't mind that at all.
I think it's the only way they win.
I don't mind that at all. Very good. Well, we'll do a quick recap, plus some halftime show stuff on.
Shout out to Andy Dalton.
Yeah, shout out to Andy. Hope he's doing well. Andy, I hope you're doing well.
Tune in next week. Our guest will be Andy Dalton.
Okay. Yeah, let's go.
Or Sam Darnold, one of the two, whichever one,
Yeah.
Thank you guys. As always, love doing this with you. Shout out to our listeners. Please like, follow, and share on all socials at Trudge Report Pod. Email us, trudgereportpod@yahoo.com. Send in your mailbag requests for topics, questions, and comments to any of these handles. Remember, we are all here if anyone wants to talk about recovery, our experiences, or if you're struggling with some form of addiction, like delusional Philadelphia Eagles. Thank you again to Janine and Stella Mix Podcast Management. Good night, God bless, and may you trudge the road of happy destiny. We will see you next week.